What's good, LATD Nation, man? It's your boy Jay. We back here with another one for y'all. Of course, I'm with my co-host
Rodney, as usual, RG from the 843, back with another one. And today we will be looking at the details of our top 5 worst movies of 2024.
Ooh,
Already did our top 5 best, which is out on the channel right now. So if y'all want to go ahead and, tune into that video, just go ahead and run that up, man. But yeah, definitely got to get into that top 5 worst because as good as the year was for cinema, for film in general, there was still definitely some bad ones in there, and we definitely got to break that down today. So, we'll go ahead and get into it, man. Hey, starting with your 5th worst movie of 2024.
Well, I tell you, in Element, how Kendrick Lamar said there's a difference between black artists and whack artists.
Yeah.
This movie is the perfect example, along with his writer, director, filmmaker. Shout out to Tyler Perry, because my number 5 worst movie is Divorce in the Black. Now, the reason why I said number 5 is mainly just because this is kind of dumb. It's dumb fun. It doesn't make any sense, but it's dumb. So pretty much, Megan Good is married to Corey Hardrick, or Dallas, as he's known in the movie, and Dallas wants a divorce from her. She gives him what he wants, and that's about it. But then, oh no, he gets angry. Now he wants revenge because he thinks that he's cheating on her, that he cheated on her the whole time with his other big buff light skinned cat. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Premise aside, I'll tell you the first scene of this movie is really what set the tone that we were in for a wild ride, because in the beginning, it's a funeral for Dallas's brother. And Megan Good's father is the preacher, and he starts talking about, Dallas's brother in a really bad way, insulting him and everything, because his whole family is like, he has multiple brothers, so his whole family is like terrorizes the whole town, and his mom is no different. You think of the most country people in this world, it's them to a T. And the thing is, since he's saying all that, she tells her sons to take their brother out of the casket and bury them in the front yard.
Boy, I tell you, Tyler Perry, man, that's I don't even know. Like, a different mind, I guess you could say.
Like, I'm gonna be real. Some of his movies aren't bad,
but that's early Tyler Perry, in my opinion.
Right, I agree.
I Can Do Bad All By Myself.
That part.
Medea Goes to Jail, like very early, like late 2000s, early 2010. Because like I told you, the other day, once it got to Medea, Abu Medea Halloween, that's when they got really bad.
No, they got really, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Around 2016, that's when they got really bad.
Yeah, especially with Tyler Perry's Confessions of a Marriage Counselor or something like that. It just went down the drain from there. And then on top of that, he's going to get mad at everybody. Also, it's only black people that do this. I'm like, bro, like, your shit whack. Like,
it's just bad. Just bad.
There's no need to.
Because my thing is that, he say that, but it's not like his movies are getting honored at the Oscars or some shit.
Right, but yet
white people ain't fucking with him either.
I mean, naturally, but all I know is, man, Divorce in the Black, easily one of the worst movies of the year. But it's at my number 5 because it's just dumb, stupid fun. It's a funny movie. You can have fun with this. But other than that, that's all I got to say. Onward to your number 5.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
stuttering too much.
So my 5th worst movie of the year is gonna be Venom: The Last Dance. Now. We did see this movie. We both did together. But we ain't really even bothered to do a review because when we saw it way late, we saw it like a couple of weeks, maybe like a week or two after it came out.
Yeah.
And
by that point, it was already irrelevant. Nobody was really going to go see that anyway.
That's what I'm saying. The movie was pretty much dead on arrival because, you just think about the fact it's the 3rd Venom movie in a trilogy that nobody really expected or asked for.
Yeah.
And it just was, this franchise, in my opinion, really ran its course with that second movie.
I agree.
It didn't need to go further than that. I was surprised when they announced the 3rd one just off of the fact that I just didn't foresee this being a trilogy to begin with.
Exactly.
Like, the first one was all right. A lot of people like it because of the memes and whatnot. I enjoyed it for what it was. The
I
movie
agree.
was great in an ironic way. In an ironic sense, the movie had humor and the movie had fun and personality. The second one played a little bit more into that unintentional humor and really kind of made it more kind of a comedy light.
I mean, Woody Harrelson did his thing in it.
Yeah, I agree. The second one is definitely the best out of the three, in my opinion. I think the second one is the one.
It's the most cohesive.
It's the most cohesive. It tells the best story and just overall, it feels like it's got the most stakes. This third one, though, it just kind of feels like they kind of just took whatever ideas they had, kind of threw them at a wall to see what would stick. Because you watch this movie and it just feels so jumbled. It feels so it just feels like they didn't know what to do.
Right.
With this character, with Eddie, with Venom. It just feels like they just kind of was like, let's just have them have more jokes about them being in a bromance, this, that, and the third. Which, don't get me wrong, it's still great. Like, what kept me invested in this movie, even though obviously it's on my worst list, was, again, the chemistry between Eddie and Venom. But other than that, there really isn't a whole lot to really say about this movie. It's very forgettable in terms of its dialogue, in terms of its plot, in terms of its structure. And overall, it just kind of feels like this franchise came and went. And this movie being the last one, it just doesn't feel like there's a real send-off feel. It just kind of feels like it just ended.
Right, exactly. And the thing is with this one, like, it was a walkout for me personally, just because I didn't really care to see the rest of it. It was just a bunch of dumb crap, just for the sake of it being dumb.
It was just dumb fun, but not as fun as that first or the second movie, in my opinion.
Right, and the thing is, people like this make jokes about the Sony universe, saying that you can't have the villains without Spider-Man, and I somewhat disagree with that. You can. But Venom without Spider-Man arguably suffers the most because, Venom is such an essential part of Spider-Man's story in the comics.
Exactly, because it's kind of like they're kind of like two halves of the same coin. It's kind of like they're a dark reflection of each other.
Exactly. Like, you can have Kraven, you can have Morbius without Spider-Man, I think. Just keep it as like an origin story and be done. But yeah, on to the next, man. My number 4... This movie that we both reviewed and saw is Night Swim. Now, who wanted to see this movie? Was it Ty?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ty.
Shout out to Turn.
Yes, sir. Love you, bro. But this is your L, big homie. Because Night Swim.
Or the first L of 2024 at that. I remember, I can't believe that was about a year ago now. I remember sitting in that theater watching this movie. Boy, when I tell you that thing was so unintentionally funny.
Right.
It's like Nosferatu unintentionally funny, but Nosferatu is actually a good movie, though.
Nosferatu is actually fire. But Night Swim, the thing is about this one, why it's at my number 4, it's for the same reason Divorce in the Black is at my number 5. Because it's just dumb fun, but the difference is that makes it worse for me is the fact that it's so unintentionally funny. You're supposed to take this junk seriously, but you can't. And I'm gonna put it like this: no racial stuff or nothing, but this is, the horror movie stereotypes about white people.
Yeah,
it's cranked up to 11 in this one.
It really and truly.
For example, here's a part in the I'm sorry, bro, but here's a part in the movie that made us laugh the most. So it starts off with Wyatt Russell playing an injured baseball player, right? And then he finds this pool, but the pool is possessed by a demon. Everybody and their mama goes in that pool, and they know what's wrong with it, but they don't say a word. So they wait until a pool party to have a pool party, and then don't say nothing about it. Don't try to stop it. Don't do anything. Wyatt Russell's character gets possessed by the demon or whatever, has one of the kids on his shoulders doing a little chicken fight thing, and then he just starts walking backwards to the deep part of the pool, and I'm like, why?
And you just cannot take it. This supposed to be a very suspenseful scene, of course, but you just cannot take it serious because it's just so poorly executed. It feels so toothless, and it's just to the point to where it's comedy.
Exactly.
Because the whole idea of this movie is comedic in and of itself. Because, like I said, when we watched the movie in theaters, which you can't knock it. I guess the movie is memorable because we ain't seen this movie in almost a year,
and we still talk about
it. So it made its mark in a way. But the thing with this movie, the premise is so ridiculous in the sense of, why not just put a tarp over the pool?
Right.
Don't use it.
or put cement over it like they eventually do at the end of the movie. My thing was, it just killed me because it's everybody knows this pool is haunted. But y'all still decide to bring people over here in the pool anyway?
Well, to be fair, you know what? I can't even say that. I think the parents did have like a sneaking suspicion that something was wrong.
The kids knew
for a fact.
And then didn't say a word. It didn't say a word about it.
People life in danger. That was crazy.
Exactly. And then on top of that, one of the cat gets the pool attracts like their pet cat or something like that, and then kills the cat. Next, they don't see the cat for the whole movie until about the end, the final like showdown or whatever. Next thing you know, the kid starts hearing a meowing sound. I'm like, oh my God, I know he's not about to go to this pool. The son goes to the pool and then and he then gets pulled in and like, okay, how did he do it? He goes on the diving board and then gets pulled in because he thinks the cat is on like a floaty. Realizes the floaty is empty and he's like, and then falls in. I'm like,
because spoiler alert, of course, if anybody,
man, y'all ain't gonna go see this. It don't matter. Go ahead. Y'all ain't gonna go see this stuff.
Because the floaty, like, it pops because the demon in the pool pops.
That's what it was.
And what really killed me the most was when Wyatt Russell at that point had been completely possessed. And him, I think it was the son or was it the daughter? They were in the house
playing Marco Polo. It was the daughter, yeah.
The daughter just ran past him. He just, Marco.
Polo.
He said he was supposed to say Polo. Like,
that's what he says, yeah.
Man, this movie this movie was definitely terrible. This movie definitely didn't set the stage for 2024 in terms of quality, but it was definitely an interesting way to start the year. But hey, on to my number 4. It's a movie we didn't see. I saw it. Imaginary. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if a bunch of people didn't really know this movie. One thing about horror is that for every really good horror movie that gets released in theaters, it feels like there's at least 2 or 3 bad ones that come out around the same time. And this movie right here is a perfect example. This movie came out, I believe, it was either late March or early April. I remember seeing this movie. And the thing about it is it's an interesting idea. So basically it's this it's this family. You have a woman who just recently got married to her husband, and she has stepdaughters and whatever the case may be, stepson, stepdaughter, whatever the case may be, moving back into her childhood house where her imaginary friend used to be. And that's basically all you need to know. So essentially, it has an interesting premise and an interesting idea. Essentially, the imaginary friend comes to life, like as an entity. And yeah, it sounds about as dumb as it is. Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much.
So it's like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends?
Basically, yeah. But yeah, this movie was very forgettable. It had an interesting concept, didn't execute it well. Cast, unfortunately, outside DeWanda Wise was low-key forgettable. Jesus from Walking Dead was in. I can't remember his name at the moment. But for the most part, there just really wasn't a whole lot to say about this movie. It came and went, to the point to where I actually forgot I even saw it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. It wasn't anything special. It was just another run-of-the-mill mid-average, mid-year horror movie, which, I mean, like I said, they have a tendency to come out around this time of like the spring and summer, early year. Like they come out all year.
Yeah, really.
These really mid horror movies, like these low-budget horror movies. And like I said, this definitely was not one you really need to rush to go see in theaters. So on to the next one.
Truth be told, none of these are, but number 3 is a movie that we both saw together, and we reviewed it on the channel, so I won't be too long with it. Pause. So, my number 3 is Joker for Level Shit. Or, Joker for Leah De. And boy, well, it didn't need to be made. This is the sequel to the 2019 Joker.
Yes, sir.
And with Joaquin Phoenix in it. He does his thing in this movie as he normally does.
Of course.
And the first one was good too, so I don't understand why they made a sequel to it. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, to make money, but
outside of that, it literally served no purpose. It didn't.
Right, and then they made it a musical, which was
about
dumb.
To say, that was the nail in the coffin. Was that they made it a musical? That had to, and there's a narrative and there's a rumor going on that the director of Joker and Joker 2, because he returned for the sequel, there's a narrative going out that he actually purposely made this movie as bad as possible to kind of shade the crowd of people that became fans of the first one, you know, the edgy community, quote unquote. And, you know, that's a crazy theory.
Shout out FD Signifier.
For sure. Yeah, I watched that video the other day. Shout out him. But yeah, you think that that's ridiculous? Like, the sound of it is ridiculous. But when you really sit down and look at this movie and watch it and analyze it, I'm not saying that it is true, but I understand, like, why people would be coming up with these narratives and these ideas to kind of not justify, but to kind of explain the turn this movie took. Because watching this movie in theaters, shit, tell you the truth, this is one of the only movies I've ever seen where I actually felt like my time and money was wasted. Because as a die-hard, lifelong film fan, this movie really made me like, damn, man, like, I really just wasted money on this shit for real. Like, hey, how much more time does this thing have?
I don't feel that way because there's content.
That's the only reason why.
Like, my thing is, like, I didn't hate this movie, but I didn't expect it to be good either. Yeah. I was just kind of there, like, it was a walkout for sure. I think that's what we called it on the review as well.
It definitely was.
Like, because, I mean, we didn't walk out because obviously we didn't, because we had to, you know, finish watching the movie. But it just wasn't nothing keeping me there. It was just kind of boring. It was bland. It wasn't real. It wasn't intriguing. The only intriguing part of the movie was the courtroom scene when he's like defending himself essentially.
Yeah, and as Joker, and because the whole idea of the movie is like, I guess them trying to say that the Joker personality is a split persona of like, right. It's like an alternate ego, alternate persona of Arthur. So
saying that he has like dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah, basically that was the whole idea. But when you really get into the meat and potatoes of this movie, there just really isn't a whole lot going on.
Right. Well,
there really just isn't much going on.
I will say this. Another thing I did like about it though was the message that everybody liked Joker, but they didn't care about Arthur. But there's one scene in particular that just made me mad. Like, you mean to tell me, and this is before, I don't want to say it, but it's a very like disturbing scene. And if you've seen the movie, then you know. But it took all that for this dude Arthur Fleck to be like, "Oh, I'm just crazy," to admit all of his faults and everything. And I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah, definitely. Me personally, I was never a huge fan of the original Joker, but even I was disappointed just as a Batman fan because it was like, this is the best y'all could do with 5 years. Like,
right, exactly.
It just feel like it was just a waste of time, man. Wouldn't recommend it. But hey, on to my third, Drive Away Dolls. We seen this movie in theaters. Yeah.
Now this was your L. I'm never letting him live this down. This is your L, bro.
It is.
This man wanted to see it. Oh, it's an Ethan Coen movie. I'm like,
I mean, this is one half of one of the greatest director duos of all time.
What did he ever write? No, I'm just joking. I know.
Because you got No Country for Old Men, Fargo. Like, these guys, a Big Lebowski.
I've been meaning to watch Fargo for a while.
Them guys, they usually don't miss. But I mean, that must be as a duo because this thing right here was
shit to the T.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really much to say. It's starring who is it? It's Margaret Qualley and Geraldine. I can't pronounce her last name.
I got you. Let's see. Drive Away Dolls.
Basically, just them as this they won't be lesbian couple, which ain't nothing wrong with that. We ain't saying anything wrong. But the plot and what was around this movie.
Real quick, Geraldine Viswanathan.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Shit, that's a mouthful for real. But yeah, this movie right here just feels very, I don't know. It just
out of place.
It was just a weird movie. Like it was like he went so out of his way to just be off the wall, just go crazy with it that it was kind of like that was in lieu of like an actual plot.
Right. And my thing is the plot itself was keeping me engaged until what they found, until the contents of the case were found. I'm not going to say what it was because, you know, YouTube, but I'm gonna put it like this. Like you said, this was essentially a lesbian road trip movie. Like we said, there's nothing wrong with it. But the thing is, it just didn't go anywhere.
it was like it was
ironically enough because
ironically feel like it was like road leading to nothing. They were just open road, just driving.
Exactly, and then
maybe a tad bit of Thelma and Louise influence in there, but I mean. That's Thelma and Louise. This ain't that.
Yeah, not at all. But it's like this movie was just for me a big waste of time. Now we literally walked out of this movie. This movie really does have the credentials to be a go to hell. Like on paper, it's a go to hell. But because we actually walked out of the movie, we called it a walkout.
Yeah.
Because it's just. I don't want to repeat what Ty said, but Rodney knows what's up. It's just it was just kind of pointless to the whole thing, and then they would have like these weird trippy scenes with Miley Cyrus and whatnot.
Yeah,
I'm like, why?
That was so out of nowhere. Like I don't know what their purpose. Maybe there was a purpose, but it just feels like it was just wacky for the sake of being wacky. And
exactly.
Ain't nothing wrong.
Now,
with
if this
that.
was just go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like. It just felt weird. It just had weird energy to it, and I was just like, I ain't really messing with this like that.
Right, but anyway, onward to my number 2. Now I kind of cheated on this one. I figured since this whole franchise was dying anyway, I just lump them all together. But my tie for my number 2 is Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter. And
I didn't see either one. Thank God.
So let me go ahead and take the reins on these, big bro. So Madam Web, man, what can I say? It was a really well-made movie. Cinematography was good. And that's it. No, bullcrap. No, this movie was actually pretty terrible. This movie was terrible. Like, even, what's her name? What is her name?
Dakota Johnson.
Okay, yeah. Dakota Johnson was even trashing this movie before it even came out.
That's how you know when the main lead comes out and basically tries to disassociate themselves with the project.
Exactly.
That's how you know it was
sitting
for a
out.
check.
And the thing is, like, at first it was cool. Now I can't even say that. Like, at first, in the beginning scene, like, yeah, they're trying to find, like, this little artifact to give, like, Ezekiel Sims powers and everything. Ezekiel Sims played by Tahar Rahim, and he was probably the worst part of this movie because every time he would talk without his mask, it was like a voice was just being dubbed over, and
that's what I heard about that.
And his lips wouldn't match what he was saying at all. It's like they didn't care. One aspect that I did like about this movie though was the fact that they had like Peter Parker's mom and dad and uncle and Aunt May and Uncle Ben, but they couldn't say the last names because it's Sony owned, like Spider-Man is owned by like Disney or whatever, so they can't say the last. That's one detail that I like. But other than that, everything else was just mediocre and flat. It was just there was nothing really keeping my attention. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go see this movie. It's not that bad. It can't be that bad, no, but it's worse. It's worse. And Kraven's no different. Kraven played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, and he does a good job in the. No, he doesn't. What am I saying? Aaron Taylor Johnson
that's a shame because that's a great actor. I mean, he was great in Nosferatu.
Right, he was great in Nosferatu. He was great.
Matter of fact, he was great in that movie. He was
Bullet Train.
No, not even Bullet Train. That's a Fall Guy. He was
Fall Guy. Yeah,
he was in there.
Yeah. He played the actual actor that Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, that's right.
So my thing is, Aaron Taylor Johnson, one of my favorite actors of this decade. Same thing with Brian Tyree Henry and a bunch of other actors. Like Bullet Train is one of my favorite movies of this decade. But just to see him in this role, I'm thinking that he would at least give some type of effort, but he didn't in Kraven. It was like he was pronouncing his words or talking like he was like a third grader just learning how to, like a little kid just learning how to read for the first time. We have to stop so and so. We have to get my brother back. We need to get rid of Rhino because he's such a this, that, and the third. And everybody talks like that. Even Russell Crowe.
That's crazy because Russell Crowe was a legend.
Yeah, but they want. And the funny thing is, they want to wait until after the movie is over, like 5 minutes left in the movie, for everything to be, for everything to be suspenseful, for the movie to be actually good. Because what's his name? Who he played? He was one of the brothers in Gladiator 2 he was one of the brothers in Gladiator 2.
You not talking about Joseph Quinn?
Yeah, boom.
He was in this movie?
Yeah, he was in this movie. He played. No, Fred Heckinger.
Okay, I was all about to say Joseph.
Yeah,
Quinn
Fred Heckinger. He was in Gladiator 2, like we said, and he does okay. But by the end, but like I said, when there's like 5 minutes left in the movie, that's when he wants to be like, oh, I'm gonna be this, that, and the third. That's when everything wants to be clear and concise and act like they even want to be there. And it's just like you can tell they didn't care, because the thing is they don't try to go out with a bang. They saw that this movie was dying, the franchise was dying. So why even keep up this performance like we care? That's how it felt.
It's crazy because I didn't see the movie, but the craziest thing was the report where Sony, they announced that they were ending the universe before this movie even came out. Because they saw the projections of the loss that this movie would afford them. So they just say, hey, we're just done.
Right. And it was dumb, too, because it's like, at least put some type of effort in it.
But, lack of effort is what got them to that point in the first place. So, you wouldn't expect them to change at that point.
Yeah, but it's true. Yeah, I agree. Because other than that, though, this movie was still really good. Bullshit. But anyway, let's keep going with your number 2, bro.
We already discussed this, man. Night Swim. That. Like I said, this movie was unintentionally funny. I ironically had a very good time watching this movie. It became one of the most memorable experiences in the theater. I laughed so hard to the point where I had tears in my eye, and that's something that I will always remember as having kind of started 2024 with. Like when I think back to early 2024. This movie is one of the things that I think of. Like when I think of the very beginning of 2024, all I can think about is seeing this movie that night.
Yeah. And
I don't know whether that's a good thing or not, to be honest with you.
Right, I don't know neither. But I ain't gonna lie, I would watch it again though, just to have something to laugh at. Just to have because like I said, that's why I put it at my number 4, because it's really not as bad. Like if you look at it, kind of like how you can do like Uncharted. You know how Uncharted is like, you got Nathan Drake, Sully, and this, that, and the third, right? The movie, that is. If you see it as just if you don't think of it as like Nathan Drake, like from the games, and just see them as people who just so happen to have the same names as Nate, Sully, and the characters from the games who just so happen to do the same thing, you can have fun with it. Mm-hmm. This is the same case here. If you see it as more of a comedy and not like a serious horror movie,
you don't take it serious.
Exactly. You can have fun with it. So that's why I put it at my number 4 and not my number 2. Because man, I didn't. There's not really much else to say on Night Swim though.
Yeah, not at all. I guess you're number 1.
Ooh, we already talked about this too though. But Drive Away Dolls was my number. Yeah. I hated Drive Away Dolls. Drive Away Dolls can go to hell, bro. I hated that movie.
Oh, I know. And that's crazy how that was one of the first movies of the year we saw. And for it to keep that place, all the movies, because mind you, we've seen at least 20, 30 movies in theaters. Had to have been.
Yeah, exactly. And then some of them we didn't even review.
Yeah.
Some of them we just saw for the sake of seeing them.
Literally.
Like with The Wild Robot, which was on our best list on our best list movie. Best movies of the year's list, but Drive Away Dolls for me, I was gonna say that's why I saved this thought. I feel like if this movie was just a road trip movie, it would have been fine.
Yeah, but the other stuff that they did with it just was like, because it was like kind of, I wouldn't say it was not a heist movie, no, not really. It had like, there was like a specific item, like the suitcase. Like in Pulp Fiction. Kind of like a MacGuffin, basically. A
MacGuffin, yeah, exactly. Full of weird stuff that we're not going to say on YouTube here. But all I know is, man, like this movie is just, like I said, if it was just a road trip movie, it would have been fine. And then they got talented actors like Coleman Domingo in here.
That's what I'm saying.
And my thing is, I don't know what Ethan Coen direction was in this movie. What the purpose was this movie for? Was it for the LGBTQIA? Maybe. And God bless him. You know what I'm saying? But but I don't want to hear talking about if you didn't like Drive Away Dolls and you didn't get it. Blah, 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 blah. Like I didn't get it. I don't think I want to get it. I don't think I want to understand it.
I didn't really hear anybody really even talk about this movie like that. I feel like
thank God,
came and went.
Thank God.
Yeah,
I think we're the only 2 people talking about it in over a year.
It was just in one ear. It was in one ear, not the other. Like nobody really discussed this movie. But yeah, I ain't really got anything else to say about Drive.
But I want to hear your number 1 though.
Oh yeah, no, my number 1 we already discussed. Joker Folie à Deux.
Oh, okay.
Joker Folie à Deux is easily for me the worst movie this year. This is one of the worst movies I've seen in theaters in a long time. This movie, for me, ranks in terms of how bad it is with Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh my God! Yeah, the direction of the menu was terrible.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
I didn't think it was that bad.
And House Party.
House Party was shitty.
These movies are the worst that I have seen of cinema in theaters in the 2020s. And Joker Foley Do is more towards the top, to be honest with you, because this movie right here, the only positive I have is that the visuals are good. And, of course, Joaquin Phoenix gives a great performance. But outside of that, weak structure in terms of a plot. Barely anything happened. It was just completely unnecessary in being a musical. It was very... It just feel like this is the perfect example of when people say that Hollywood is running out of ideas, in the sense that this is just one of those sequels that just didn't. Now, we've got a lot of movies that arguably didn't need sequels, but the sequel come out and it ends up being justified. Like, the sequel justifies its own existence. This is not the case.
Nah, I'm going to put it like this. The same way you felt about Joker, like it was a waste of time and you wasted your money, was kind of the exact same way I felt about Drive-Away Dolls.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Like, because at least with Joker, for me, at least it kind of went somewhere and had something to say.
Yeah.
Either, legitimately or illegitimately. You know what I'm saying? I took something from it, like, the whole Joker versus Arthur thing and the whole theory about it being purposefully bad. But Drive-Away Dolls for me really just didn't hook me, or I didn't take away anything from it.
Same thing with Joker Foley Do, because the thing about this movie is that I'm a huge Batman is one of my top 10 favorite fictional characters of all time.
Same.
So I was rooting for this movie to a degree just because it was a Batman related thing. But like I said, this movie just, especially leaving off from the end, there was no reason for this movie to exist, in the sense that with the original, a standalone Joker story, like an origin story, it made sense without Batman, because of course it's his origin, it's how he became Joker. But once you get to this second movie, this is why right here why you cannot really have a Joker movie work without Batman, because the problem with this movie is that without him there's no conflict, because now he's already the Joker, but there's still no conflict.
Right, exactly.
And it just makes the movie feel so dead on arrival. Like, it just feels like just nothing's happening, because he doesn't really have a real adversary. Who's his real villain? The people of Gotham? They're not in the courtroom with him. He's in there by himself. It just feels very and them guards and everything. Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, like if y'all know, but that scene really did not disturb me, but it was just like, ugh. Yeah, why? And
what made it really weird is how it just was
out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was out of nowhere, and it was never really addressed. Like, I don't know what they were trying to say with that scene. I don't know what they were trying to say with the whole movie. As a matter of fact, I just feel like they didn't have a direction. They didn't really know what they wanted to do, but they just said, "Here's $200 million. Make us more money."
Exactly.
And this movie actually failed at the box office.
Thank God.
This movie, I believe, lost them around $200 million. $200 million.
Well, at least we tried. You know what I'm saying?
Imagine getting handed $200 million to just throw it away.
Right. Exactly. Like, I just like with this movie though. Like, I didn't care for it. I didn't like it. Truth be told, the first movie I liked it, but I wasn't like head over heels in love with it like everybody else was.
And the funny thing is that I've talked to a lot of people that actually share that same sentiment in real life. Like, I've never really met a big super fan of the original Joker, to be honest with you. Most people I will just say, like, it was cool, but I wasn't checking for it like that.
I will say this though, like, everything I said about the Sony movies about having, like, not having Spider-Man versus this one not having Batman, like, this is an example of having a villain without the hero type deal. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the 2019 Joker was a good example of that I think Sony could have learned from, in my honest opinion.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be real, Madam Web, Craven, all the Venom movies, they had potential. Morbius had potential. They just did it so lackluster, bro. All of these movies, bro, like all of these movies that we just mentioned, like they have good, potential to it. Like it could have worked. Like a haunted pool could have worked. like a lesbian road trip movie could have worked. Like this whole new Joker movie probably wouldn't have worked. But Madam Web, Craven, like all of these could have worked in my opinion, man. It's just disappointing to see how much bullcrap just came out of this past year.
Facts. But yeah, overall 2024, great year for film, but there definitely was some duds in there, man.
Yeah, this one.
And I'm sure there gonna be some this year, so
I can't wait to talk about them.
For sure. Shit. Hey, but you already know. Film reviews this year, 2025, got them on the way, y'all. Y'all already know you can stay locked in, of course. But yeah, other than that, yeah, that was 2024 in film.
Yeah.
Don't really have much else to add to that. Don't really have much else to say.
Same here. Well, I hope y'all had a good time enjoying it. More videos to come this year.
Yes, sir.
We got some in the chamber already, so all we got to do is lock, load, back. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how it goes.
Sir.
But at this point, I've been Jay.
This has been Rodney.
We're LATD. Remember, y'all, always look at the details. Peace.